What's up people, how are you doing? My name is Nani and welcome to another speed build. It's another tiny house, but it's not because I'm sad this time. Well, I am sad, but that's not the reason I decided to build another tiny house. Also, the reason I'm sad has nothing to do with my ex, it was something else, so it's fine. And finally, this tiny house isn't the special speed build meant to celebrate the 250 subscribers either. In fact, I'm postponing that one until further notice. I'm sorry, I just can't gather the energy to worry about that right now. It will happen, just not now. Anyway, the reason I'm building another tiny house is because I stumbled upon a very interesting video on YouTube a while ago called Inside Japan's Strangest Tiny Apartment. And since I have an obsession with tiny houses and another obsession with Japan, I had to watch it, obviously. True to the title, the apartment was pretty strange because the very first thing you would see after opening the front door would be a toilet. I kid you not, the first room you walk into that apartment is the bathroom. A very strange bathroom because there's glass everywhere. There's a giant window right behind the toilet. There's another giant window next to the bathtub, and even the front door is mostly glass. Yeah, you heard me. The front door, the one that is right in front of the toilet, is mostly glass. There are blinds, obviously, but still very weird. However, believe it or not, the bathroom was not the reason I decided to build this apartment. Well, this house. The original one is an apartment. I had to build it as a house because I don't have apartments in my game. I'm poor, leave me alone. Anyway, the reason I wanted to build this place in The Sims is related to the other room. There's only one more room other than the bathroom, and at first glance it looks completely normal. It's just a really long room with one window at the far end and a few appliances on the side. It looked like a pretty decent sized room until the guy who was storing the apartment started measuring it. As it turns out, the room is not even 10 steps long and it's so narrow that you couldn't even fit a bed across the two longest walls. The guy actually lied down on the floor to figure out how an adult would sleep there. You know what? I will leave the link to the video in the description in case you want to see it yourself because I know I'm not explaining it right. But yeah, he realized that an adult person could only sleep in that room if they were to lie down along the walls. And they would have to sleep in a single bed too because there wasn't even enough space to fit a double bed in there. And that was when I started to do some Sims math. Beds in The Sims are 3 tiles long, but if this apartment isn't wide enough for an adult to lie down across the room, then that means the apartment would be smaller than that. It would most likely be only 2 tiles wide. And that's crazy because I've built corridors larger than that. I like a good challenge though, so I decided to give it a try and build that apartment in The Sims. I thought that the most challenging part of this build would be furnishing the house because I obviously wanted the house to be functional. I don't build houses just for the sake of building, but it turns out that was actually the easy part. I only had a little issue with the bunk bed. I wasn't going to use a bunk bed at first, I was going to use a normal bed, but then I was like, no, you know what, the challenge of building tiny houses is for you to place as many things as you can inside, so I changed my mind. I was planning on placing a table under the bunk bed and then placing a computer on one of its sides so my Sims could use it both as a desk and a dining table, but it didn't work. I knew I couldn't place the table right under the bed, because then the little ladder would be in the way, but I thought I could have it perpendicular to the bed. Unfortunately, for some reason, the Sims wouldn't be able to use the bed if there was a chair under it, so yeah, I had to give up on the computer. I placed the TV on the free side of the table instead. To be honest, I think I could still get the computer because while I was playtesting the house, the Sims never used the dining table. They can use it, it's functional, but they would always choose to sit on the bench outside, so if you are not going to use the table to eat, why not use it for something else, Oh, speaking of the bench outside, that reminds me, I only used the backyard stuff pack and the blooming rooms kit for this build. I was going to do it base game at first, but then I got to the complicated part of this build and I had to change my mind. You see, this is a tiny house with a pretty straightforward shape, which means it looked boring as hell. I needed something to make this house more interesting, but the only thing left to do was the outside of the house. Now, if you have been watching my videos for a while, you know that I'm not very good at building gardens, backyards, or front yards, anything related to the exterior of the house. I've wanted to fix that for a really long time now though, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to go all out and try something completely new. I've seen other people make some really cool and fancy outdoor areas using platforms and terrain tools, and I was like, yep, that's what I want, that's what I need for this house. So I moved the house all the way to the back of the lot and started experimenting with the platforms on the front of the lot. Now, if you are a seasoned builder in The Sims 4, you know that it's not possible to place a platform next to a foundation, right? You can build platforms on top of foundations, but you can have them side by side. Instead, you have to leave one tile in between the foundation and the platform and then connect the two with stairs. That's what we have been doing all this time, right? Because there's no other way, right? Well, wrong. We can have foundations and platforms side by side in The Sims 4, and I found out about it completely by accident while building this house. Remember that I said that I moved the whole house to the back of the lot so that I would have plenty of space to play around with platforms in the front of the lot? Well, once I was done with that, I obviously needed to move the house on a foundation to the front of the lot again. I was going to leave one tile in between the platforms and the foundation so that I could connect them with stairs like usual, but I misclicked, and next thing I knew, the foundation and the stairs I made with platforms were right next to each other. They were connected, and it works. I tested it multiple times. So it turns out we can have foundations and platforms next to each other. It's just that we have been doing it wrong all of this time. I actually made a whole video about it, explaining how to do it and what glitches you might face while using this technique, because I mean, since it isn't really supposed to happen, there will be a few glitches, but hey, it still works. So if you are interested in that and you haven't watched the video yet, I will leave the link for that one in the description too. Also, by now, some of you are probably wondering like, wait, you said you built the house first and then the stairs with the platforms, but this video starts with you building the stairs, so what is going on? Well, I will let you in on a little secret. I actually sketch all of my builds. I always do a little prototype of what I want, where I usually test the stuff I'm not so sure about before I actually start building. My best friend actually brought this up once. She was like, oh my god, you are so good at building houses, you did all of that so fast and in one single go, so impressive. And I was like, oh, you think I did that in one single go? Because I didn't. I never do, okay? I'm not one of those talented builders that can come up with a bunch of crazy cool ideas for a house on the spot. I can only come up with a few decent ideas after hours of grinding in build mode. So when I say that I'm not that good at building, I'm not trying to be humble or fishing for compliments, okay? I'm being realistic. Trust me. Oh, now that I stopped to think about it, you can get a glimpse of what it actually looks like when I build a house from scratch in the 4th episode of my Rags to Riches challenge. I kid you not, I spent like 10 whole minutes just trying to choose the new paint for the outside of the house, and it ended up just being a different color swatch from the previous painting. 10 minutes of me searching for new paint just to go back to the same damn thing. Funny, right? Yeah. Well, anyway, this video is almost over, so I think I will end the voiceover here. I want to go and watch the new Alien Romulus trailer one more time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, because I'll be back in a couple days and you don't want to miss a thing. Trust me. See you then.